What if I told you that one of the greatest football heroes in history was once laughed out of every football academy he joined? A boy so poor that he played barefoot on broken streets. A boy who was told he was too weak, too small, and too untalented to ever become a professional footballer. At age 14, he was rejected by 7 different clubs. At 17, a devastating injury nearly ended his career forever. And yet, years later, with millions watching around the world, that same boy stood in a World Cup final with only seconds remaining on the clock. What happened next left an entire stadium in tears and changed football history forever. This is the unbelievable story of Lucas Silva, the boy nobody wanted. The story begins in a small, poor neighborhood on the outskirts of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. The streets were narrow. The houses were old. Most families struggled to survive. Among those families lived a young boy named Lucas Silva. Lucas loved football more than anything else in the world. Every morning before school, he played football. Every afternoon after school, he played football. Every evening before sleeping, he dreamed about football. But there was one problem. Lucas had almost nothing. His family was extremely poor. His father had passed away when he was only 8 years old. His mother worked long hours cleaning houses. Many nights there wasn't enough food on the table. Still, Lucas never complained. He only had one dream: to become a professional football player. Every day he practiced using an old, worn-out football. When the ball burst, he taped it together. When his shoes broke, he played barefoot. When it rained, he trained. When it was hot, he trained. Nothing could stop him. At school, however, things were different. Other kids laughed at him. "You're too skinny. You're too weak. You'll never become a football player." Lucas smiled and ignored them. Deep down, though, their words hurt. Years passed. Finally, at age 14, he got his first chance. A local football academy was holding tryouts. Hundreds of young players showed up. Lucas arrived with old clothes and torn boots. The other boys looked professional. Many came from wealthy families. Lucas felt nervous. The tryouts started. At first he played brilliantly. He missed passes. He made mistakes. The coaches seemed unimpressed. At the end of the day, the results were announced. One by one, names were called. Lucas waited and waited and waited. His name never came. Rejected. The first rejection hurt badly, but he refused to quit. A month later, he tried again. Rejected. 3 months later, rejected. Again and again and again. 7 academies, 7 rejections. Each one broke his heart a little more. One evening, his mother found him crying alone. She sat beside him. "Lucas," she said softly, "success belongs to those who refuse to give up." Those words changed everything. From that day forward, Lucas trained harder than ever before. While others slept, he practiced. While others relaxed, he worked. He ran before sunrise. He trained after sunset. He turned rejection into motivation. Then one day, something unexpected happened. A retired football coach named Roberto noticed him playing in the street. Roberto watched silently. The boy's technique wasn't perfect. His strength wasn't impressive. But there was something special. Something impossible to teach. Heart, determination, courage. Roberto approached him. "Kid, what's your name?" "Lucas." "Do you want one more chance?" Lucas looked up immediately, his eyes filled with hope. "Yes." Roberto smiled. "Then be ready tomorrow morning." Lucas had no idea. His life was about to change forever. The next morning, Roberto drove Lucas to the biggest football academy in the entire state. A place where future stars were made. A place where failure meant the end of the dream. And Lucas only had one chance. The academy was unlike anything Lucas had ever seen. Massive training fields, professional coaches, elite young players. Everything looked intimidating. Lucas felt completely out of place. The other boys wore expensive boots. Lucas wore the same old pair. Some players laughed, others ignored him. The trials began. For the first 20 minutes, Lucas struggled badly. He misplaced passes, lost possession, missed opportunities. The coaches looked disappointed. One coach even wrote something on his clipboard. Lucas knew exactly what it meant. Rejection, again. Fear started growing inside him. Then suddenly he remembered his mother's words. Success belongs to those who refuse to give up. Everything changed. He relaxed. He stopped worrying. He simply played football. And that's when the magic happened. He dribbled past one defender, then another, then a third. The crowd gasped. He sprinted toward goal. The goalkeeper rushed forward. Lucas calmly chipped the ball. Goal. Silence. Then applause. The coaches stared in disbelief. The boy they nearly ignored had become the best player on the field. Days later, the academy announced its selections. Lucas opened the letter. His hands trembled. He could barely breathe. Then he saw it. Congratulations, you have been accepted. Lucas cried. His mother cried. For the first time ever, the dream felt real. But success brought new challenges. Training became harder. Competition became tougher. Player wanted the same dream. Years passed. Lucas improved rapidly. Scouts began noticing him. Professional clubs became interested. Everything seemed perfect. Then disaster struck. During a major youth tournament, Lucas went down holding his knee. The stadium fell silent. The pain was unbearable. Doctors examined him. The diagnosis was devastating. Severe ligament damage. Months away from football. Possibly longer. One doctor even said, "You may never return at the same level." Lucas was crushed. Everything he had worked for seemed to disappear overnight. He spent months in rehabilitation. Pain, frustration, doubt. Every day felt harder than the last. Some players would have quit. Lucas refused. He remembered every rejection, every insult, every sacrifice, and he kept fighting. Then finally came the biggest opportunity of his life. National team scouts would attend his comeback match. A good performance could change everything. A bad performance could end the dream forever. The stadium lights came on. The scouts took their seats. Lucas walked onto the pitch, and with one touch of the ball, his future would be decided. Lucas played the match of his life. He scored. He assisted. He dominated. The scouts were amazed. Soon afterward, he joined Brazil's youth national team. Then, the senior team. The boy who once played barefoot was now wearing Brazil's famous yellow jersey. Years later came the biggest stage in football, a World Cup. Millions watched around the world. Brazil advanced through the tournament, round after round, victory after victory, until finally they reached the World Cup final. The entire nation held its breath, but disaster struck early. Brazil fell behind, 2-0. The players looked defeated. The fans were silent. At halftime, nobody believed a comeback was possible. Nobody except Lucas. Inside the locker room, he remembered everything. The poverty, the rejections, the injury, his mother's sacrifices. He had not come this far to surrender now. The second half began. Lucas attacked relentlessly. Minute 61, goal. 2-1. The crowd erupted. Brazil had hope. Minute 79, Lucas delivered a perfect assist. 2-2. The stadium exploded. The impossible comeback was alive. Then came the final moments. The clock showed 89 minutes. One last attack. Lucas received the ball near midfield. He turned, accelerated, beat one defender, then another, then another. The crowd rose to its feet. Only the goalkeeper remained. Time seemed to stop. Lucas looked up and struck the ball, past the goalkeeper, into the net. Goal! The stadium erupted. Commentators screamed, fans cried, teammates ran toward him. Brazil had done it. The boy nobody wanted had just won the World Cup. After the final whistle, Lucas lifted the trophy high into the night sky. Tears streamed down his face. During the post-match interview, he said, "People told me I wasn't good enough. They told me I was too weak. They told me to give up. But dreams don't belong to the talented. Dreams belong to those who refuse to quit." Years later, Lucas returned to the neighborhood where everything began. He built football fields, opened youth academies, helped children chase their dreams. One evening, he watched a young barefoot boy playing football in the street. The scene reminded him of himself. The boy asked, "Do you think I can become a football player?" Lucas smiled, then answered, "Never let anyone decide how big your dream can be." And with that, the cycle began again. Because sometimes the boy nobody believes in becomes the hero the whole world remembers.